Ladies and gentlemen, this right here is Cade Cunningham. And as you can see, the Cavs are scheming heavily against him, giving him no space to really operate. But when you load up on him heavy going one way, Cade has a counter for that by spinning off. And this right here, well, it's straight cash. See, in the playoffs, the star player is the one who gets targeted, and it's make or break for players in this predicament. We already know, the regular season isn't as detail focused and intense, but when it's the postseason, this is when every chance to score during the game means more than anything. And in this video brought to you by ProdGxm, we have to take a trip up to Motor City. The reason being is because with Cade Cunningham being able to lead this Pistons team to the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference, he walked into the playoffs hungry to ultimately put up 28 points a night with shooting splits of 43% from the field and 40% from deep. Now hold on, I already know some people are going to bring up his turnovers to assist, and yeah, it can get kind of muddy. But focus up, because today we're dissecting how an NBA player can score with literally zero spacing. Welcome everybody to the Hoop Mastery Lab, because here's the discovery I found. In order to score when you have no space to operate freely, it's all about having the switch system. Now you're probably wondering, what am I referring to? And to make things as simple as possible, I'm talking about having a skill set so versatile that also works with your mentality that allows you to stay locked in even when you have to operate at a more complex level. When being the focal point of the offense, every time Cunningham would push to the basket, the help would be there in these holes to make him think twice before attacking. But as you can see, Wagner is high on Cade, which allows for Cunningham to use that to his advantage with a spin-off. And right here is where you totally separate yourself from others by throwing in that counter, since you already know the defense will play the spin-off to the basket, and man was this just nice. Craftiness like that is what makes getting to your spots even possible, as you will face many different defenders in your way while you're making your move, so it's always best that you have a vast amount of switches that you can turn on at any time. Now listen up to me, we'll get to the most important switch later, which I like to call the pure hooper switch, but first we have to start off with the most surprising one, and it's that blowtorch. See, with the defense not respecting Cade's threes as much due to him only converting them at a 34% rate during the regular season, this would lead to them going under screens like we see here. But then when you pair that with the big being in drop coverage, along with Cade shooting 40% from 3 in the postseason, that's when he can rise right up with pure confidence. When you believe in your game to the point that Cade does, it's taken as disrespect when defenders go under the screen as they're practically daring him to shoot, but when he's zoned in like this, it didn't matter if 2 defenders contested or not, this one was gonna drop in. When facing Orlando in the first round, it was highly apparent that they wanted to force Cade to shoot, as you can see the defender go under the screen not only once, but twice on this possession. And even though Cleveland would go over the screens a little more than Orlando did, they would still fall victim to what they think would be a good decision, but suddenly they end up even more hurt. Now there's a major reason this is important, as I know some of you are wondering what this even has to do with him being able to score with literally zero spacing. Well, in order for your game to open up completely, you have to be able to shoot the ball from deep. Right when he came off these screens, there was no hesitation whatsoever when it came to letting it fly when the big man played drop coverage like this. If the defense actually did the right thing and jumped the gun early to switch so they could stay with him, well, in such a calm way, Cade snatches back on Suggs to bury this home. And when he's feeling good and in his zone, he'll walk you right down to fire. See, most people didn't expect for Cade to shoot so good from deep, as he's not known to be that great of a floor spacer, but when you know the defense is scheming to give you no space, you have to be the one to curate some for yourself by making the defense guard you from further out. Turning the switch onto that blowtorch during the playoffs would heat defenders so bad that they would be dying to cool off, but that's when Cade would just switch the flip to get in that ice rink with him and start gliding. It's pretty crazy how even though Cunningham isn't the fastest guy or someone who jumps out the gym, he's still able to get inside to score while making it look smooth. When coming up the floor, you can already see the spacing ready to shrink. Silva is helping off ready for a drive, and Goga is ready in the paint. For many players, this drive to the basket will be pretty contested since the big is right there in front. But Cade uses that misdirection pickup to fake Goga out, and the rest is history. Yeah, fooling the defense like that is nasty. And when he's once again in a position where Orlando is ready to cut him off one way, Cade uses Wendell's momentum against himself by initiating that pickup with a euro, and after some contact, he gets that and one. It may look easy, but best believe it isn't, as a lot of the time, Cade will be faced with a whole team in position to stop him, and even if it wasn't all 5 guys on him, he still gets smothered by his man and Wendell helping out, but still completes the bucket. When you're in that ice rink with him, many things can happen to you. As we all know, it's a lot of contact when you're on that ice. So occasionally, these bumps will come into play to gain some separation before finishing, but then we really know that the gliding amongst the rink is the main thing. And when talking about Cade, once he sees the matchup he wants, he's not afraid to call for that ISO to deliver that smooth hezzy cross through the legs. And like we've been stating time and time again, the goal is to give Cade no space to feel comfortable to operate, but that floater, it can defeat them every time. It gets to a point where Cade understands how to beat the defense so well that he can eliminate one defender with the ball fake, bump off James to retreat back before attacking, and even though he has some contact with Mobley, it simply doesn't matter. See, we're just now starting to heat up that ice rink, and trust me, when things start melting, defenders are surely in trouble. Cade will start to chain moves together like the low gather off the crossover into an up fake for the bucket. He'll use an interesting push cross that turns into a drop cross that totally cooks Paolo before he goes up for the and one. And then when he gets the ISO on Paolo at the top of the key, this is where he turns up the heat to melt the ice completely, and there's just no stopping him. Yeah, I told y'all, it's about to get real complex, as now Cade has shown the defense he can still get to his spots even if they play him tight. And this leads us right into the pure hooper switch. This one has to be the most important one in my eyes, simply because it leans heavy on creation, awareness, and picking your spots even more wisely. So hold your popcorn for a second, because first, we have to have a word for our sponsor. If you know you can play responsibly and have the means to do so, PrizePicks is the #1 app for sports picks. As we all know, the NBA season is over, but PrizePicks has many different sports you can choose from, and right now, the World Cup is hot. And for my basketball lovers, the WNBA is in action as well. When you get on PrizePicks, you'll see that there's so many sports to choose from, and then there's even different filters you can click on to place picks on certain things during the game. Honestly, it's pretty easy to use. All you have to do is pick more on a player or less on a few player stats to put them in your lineup for a chance at a nice prize. For example, I think Ronaldo will have 1 goal, so I'm going to take him for more. I also believe Asia Wilson will have more than 39 points, rebounds, and assists. And then after grabbing a couple more players I think with the numbers tonight, I can finalize my lineup by submitting now and just sit back and let the magic happen. If you want to place your own picks and follow my lineups, you can sign up for PrizePicks in most states, including California, Texas, Florida. And if you sign up for PrizePicks with code HMA, you get $50 instantly once you play at least $5. So either download the app or click the link in my description and let me hear your picks in the comments. Now when switching that mentality and approach to be hooper focused, Cade will already be 2 steps ahead of the defense when they try to jam him up like we see right here. So that's where that bump off his defender comes into play to make him fall, and then instead of spinning back into a normal fade, he fakes out Silva by stepping around one more time, and now the shot is just butter. This switch I'm talking about brings out the best in Cade's game. When defenders give him a tough time, he makes things even tougher for them. And just when it seems like they have him right where they want him, well, the joke's on them. Such as when coming off the screen here, the Magic just switch it to allow Suggs to pressure Cade tightly, but he doesn't get sped up one bit. He gets right to his spot on the floor, fakes like he's gonna power into an attack, only to then step back to fake out both defenders before dropping it in. I'm telling you, there wasn't many easy buckets for Cade, and when looking at this play right here, you can easily see the amount of attention that was directed towards stopping him. You have Bane playing close, Paolo's ready to close this gap right here, and so is Suggs as well. Schemes like this aren't easy to beat unless you have a setup in mind. And for Cunningham, it was for him to attack the basket strong to then snatch back before meeting the double, and ooh-wee, this was just fast. Oh, yeah! Actions like that is pure instinct when you're looking to get your shot. Many times defenders will force you a certain way, double you, play physical, or just all out play dirty. But what separates elite players from just good ones is that you can score in any predicament. Like seriously, I want you all to watch this play very closely and see how much contact Cade is being met with every single second of the play. And then once attacking middle, he's forced to pick it up due to Mobley being in the gap, and it may look like it's a done deal and the play is dead, but nah, Cade is just too good for that.
Got Merrill on him. Well defended, but Cunningham just too good.
When you connect on shots like that, it can totally just deplete the defense, as they'll start to feel as if they can't do anything to stop you, and hey, they may be right. Cade doesn't run away from any pressure or moments at all, so that's why he can connect on these N1 plays despite the contact.
Turns inside. Cunningham, the hooping hard.
When he gets the ISO he likes, it doesn't matter if he's matched up against another star. He'll just show him that there's levels to this. And like we've discussed all video, spacing doesn't matter, coverage doesn't matter. All that matters is if Cade can get into his shot motion, and from that point on, it's over with. See, what we witnessed from Cade in these playoffs wasn't just a guy putting up numbers. It was an entire system at work, the switch system. And what makes it so special is that none of it requires perfect conditions. No wide open looks, no clean drives, no easy anything. Just Cade, a defense scheming against him heavily, in a toolbox so deep that it doesn't matter what they throw at him. Think about what we covered today, the blowtorch, where he weaponized the very disrespect defenses showed him from 3, and instead of shying away from it and looking for someone else to shoot it, he torched them for it. Then you had the ice ring, where even without elite athleticism, he was gliding past defenders with misdirections, euros, floaters, and contact finishes that he pretty much made look effortless. And then you had that pure hooper switch, which in my eyes is the most important one, where awareness and creation took over completely, and no matter how jammed up the defense got him, he found a way out every single time. The best players in the world don't wait for the game to come to them. They switch, they adapt. Because in the playoffs, the defense is always going to take something away from you. So the question becomes, is what do you do when that happens? And Cade's answer was simple: flip the switch.